Hello everyone. It's 9:44 p.m. at night. So I'm just letting y'all know that thankfully someone came through to help me. Um well, someone sent me $10 and said that she was hoping it would be for something to eat like a sandwich, but I am so tired that I was trying to basically say I hope you don't mind if I use the $10, towards another hotel night, to make ends meet. So I mean, well, you know how I asked for 15 for to make sure I had enough cushion, so um so now I had just enough for a hotel night, and I have $2.98 left in the bank and no cash. So I'm thankful and glad I'm off the streets. Thanks for the help. And ow, my feet hurt. So yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock, and that was the only person who helped. And I didn't. Well, I don't have the funds for anything to eat for dinner. I mean, if I would have got me something to eat for dinner, then I probably would have had to be on the streets tonight, you know. So I'm so tired. Like, I'm too tired to even eat anything right now. But I have fears that I might wake up in the middle of the night tortured and suffering and hungry. But the last time I ate was breakfast this morning. That was the last time ow, ow, ow. Right when I said breakfast, um, they shocked me in my left arm. But they just shocked me in my left arm. But right when I said breakfast. But I didn't have lunch or dinner. And as I said, I just got $2.98 in the bank. And I just got one night here, and thankfully, I'm glad I was able to get it for under $100. you know, and I just got out of the shower. Like, I came and I checked in, and and the first thing I did was sanitize and spray down my bags, and um, well, I don't have time to hand wash the dress, so I sprayed down and sanitized the dress as well. I sprayed down and sanitized the dress, and so I'm just so tired. And they squeezed my organs a little bit when I was in the shower. Um, you know, so I'm like dozing off. So I don't know if I can have help with more hotel nights or if I have to suffer back on the streets tomorrow. Um, you know, I don't know why I'm freezing cold tonight. But yeah. And I mean, the fact that I got here so late. Well, it wasn't that late. I mean, I took the bus. I made it in time for the 6:30 bus, and the bus driver, I'm glad he didn't really bother me that much, you know. But oh man, I don't know why I'm tensed up and shivering. Um, you know, So, um, but yeah, I guess what I've filmed and recorded this evening, what I filmed and recorded this evening, I guess I might wait till tomorrow to film and record it, you know. Yeah, I guess tomorrow, um, I'll up, I'll upload the videos, but excuse me, one of my transfers from one bus to another. No, from the one of the buses, the first bus to the streetcar. Why am I tense and shaky? And I'm tense, shaky, and cold. But I don't know why. The I don't know why I'm tense, shaky, and cold. Hold on, let me see if I can. No, I'm sorry. But yeah. But they had, when I was transferring. Hold on. When I was I'm in so much pain. When I was transferring from the first bus to the streetcar, I'm in so much pain. Hold on, let me try to sit up. All right. So when I transferred from the first bus to the streetcar, my back. When I transferred from the first bus to the streetcar, they had these two people playing, and I don't know if they were young adults, but the female was extra tall, and the guy was so short that he looked like a child. I thought he was a child until he turned around, and they were horseplaying in front of me. They were horseplaying in front of me, and they were horseplaying in front of me, and then the girl tried to fight me because I got frustrated at them, being in my way. And I don't know what she screamed at me because I had my earbuds in, But I guess after 5 p.m., the area of Loyola and Tulane, downtown New Orleans, or between Loyola and Poydras, probably by the bus station too, like Loyola Avenue and like around that area, it's pretty dangerous after 5 p.m. That girl acting like she wanted to hurt me. Excuse me. And they were horseplaying it, But I'm in pain all over my body. And feeling sleep deprived, feeling and tired, and I didn't think I was gonna be that long in this video. I thought I was just gonna try to do a little over 3 minutes and then just go to bed. But I guess I'm glad I can. You know what? Well, it took me longer than 3 minutes to say what I needed to say. But thanks so much for the support and help, and and thank y'all for not selling out. Excuse me. Thank you for not selling out, and thank you for not believing the lies of the perp cult, the satanic perp cult. And thank you for believing me, you know, thank you for understanding, and thanks for the support and love, and um even if it's, like, comment, share, subscribe, words of encouragement, what other people would say, positivity, um it means so much. Even like if you can't afford to financially donate, but you can support in other ways, you know, even just like, comment, share, subscribe. And I usually don't tell people, I usually don't be like, oh, like, comment, share, and subscribe, because I know that the perps will attack me more if I say that. But, the stalking cult, they dislike, make hate comments, share, and subscribe, and got their notifications on as a, and a lot of people say that on social media, no matter what it is, that not every friend request is a support, that certain so-called friend requests might be demonic, fake surveillance, or what people talk about, the monitoring spirits, excuse me, but yeah, I was that tired that, I would have rather have chosen to be, like, my body feels so weak that I don't know how I would have done it, being terrorized and harassed tonight on the streets, But I guess since I drank a little more water after my shower, I guess I'm kind of puckered up a little bit, and it took me 10 minutes to start to feel a little bit better. But I'm not gonna live stream tonight, um, you know. But earlier today, I listened to the book of Jude in the Bible. It's just one chapter, and it was like 3.5 minutes or so. But um, I'm sitting here, in survival mode, and I have um, I like tonight when I was taking my shower, I realized I have a boil under my arm, like, kind of like the back part of my underarm, on my left underarm, boil, cyst, boil or cyst, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a boil, not a cyst or whatever, Um, but it hurts a little, and it got kind of big, but yeah, I'm thankful and glad to finally get my special soap, and I'm glad that had my rubbing alcohol and stuff. That was all I was able to get, and so I mean, as I was gonna probably just, I didn't want to have had to suffer on the streets, but I if it weren't for the fake jail and court date thing, you know, I would have, there were some things I needed to get, but I have to put those on hold until, because I would hate to buy those things and then they end up wrongfully sentencing me to jail or whatever. But I'm sitting here dozing off now. You know, but so, like, I'm it's frightening to be forced to have to live like this And I thought it was just a personal hatred. I didn't realize it was a government, or like a satanic government program, you know. I didn't realize it was a satanic government program. But like if I would have been able to get here sooner or earlier, I would have liked to hand wash this dress and my undergarments and work on some more fiction, short stories, or my or add more to my novel, you know. But yeah, I've been like fighting to survive all day, fighting to survive all day, you know. But I guarantee you that if I had the funds, you know, I wouldn't need to ask for anything. You know, it's like a daily fight to survive, to stay alive with this targeting program, when they're trying to make it hard to survive and exist and live, and trying to criminalize your very existence. You know, when you've done nothing wrong. And so every day I get angry that I can't be earning my own, like earning enough of my own income to be able to survive on my own without having to be dependent, you know. And I gave up pretty much on panhandling it on the streets. It's really hard, and people are they're much more mean and evil, you know. So, well, I haven't totally given up, but I mostly gave up trying to panhandle on the streets, you know. But it's like, excuse me, people have their own false narrative, you know. A lot of people think that just because they have certain people who think that just because something is posted on the internet, then it must be a lie, fake, or an illusion. You know, they got some truth and realness too. You know, it's hard to find, but you know how they say the bad ones make it hard for the good. So, but the thing is that frustrates me is, even if it's not about targeting, you know, no matter what situation you're going through, you can show proof of something. And because it's the internet, people think you're lying and got something to hide. You know, or like, or certain people just, or it's like the internet narcissism that rampant, that almost everybody is a narcissistic abuser. Because you can show like a narcissistic abuser, you can, when they falsely accuse you of something that you didn't do, and I don't even know if they really do falsely assume that you did or said or you're guilty, or if they know that you're innocent and just want to fight or just want to pick a fight, you know. So you can show the proof or the truth of something in their face, and they will still tell you you're lying, and that they don't believe you, and they shut you down and cut you off and tell you what foolishness they don't want to hear. Excuse me, you know. And I did not realize until recent years that bullying is, I don't know if you want to call it demonic or satanic, you know, but bullying is not of God and it's not holy, you know. So, excuse me. And I don't know why, it seems like as if I think I might feel a sore throat coming on too. But like excuse me, when they have abusive, narcissistic, fake TI perps and regular perps, they see me in this predicament and use it to exploit. And certain I thought they said if you were a fake TI perp, or if you're a TI turned perp, then you can never be a handler. But certain other people say it's not true, that excuse me, that even people who were formerly targeted and then turn into a perp, then they can end up being handlers or whatever. But excuse me, but the handlers make more money than the regular perps. So when I wonder how can people from the internet think that they can tell a better narrative of your life than you could tell your own life, and people will rather believe their fake, ignorant version, where you got the proof and you're showing the proof of your circumstance, and then they try to sway your opinion and try to tell you, no, it's not that way, it's this way. And people would rather, even people who say that they love the Lord with all their heart and they're Christian or whatever, they would rather believe the satanic perps and betray and go against you and block and harm you and make you feel depressed, and you end up losing sleep or feeling like a failure Christian, or feel like you did or said something wrong, excuse me, but certain people say all the Bible quoting in the world don't make you a real Christian, They're like, yeah, because the devil knows scripture too, So for the way people talk about internet beggars or cyber beggars or something like that, on no matter what platform, I really don't see many YouTube videos or social media about other people, quote unquote, internet begging or cyber begging. But, if they are begging, I don't judge them. I don't judge them. And, I don't attack them. I don't believe that they be scammers and frauds or nothing, But when they have vigilantes online that would falsely accuse someone of, begging and scamming, and especially black women are the main people that get attacked, excuse me, black women are the main ones getting attacked. And so for them to lie and say that you're begging and scamming, and they have these vigilante attacks of everybody coming at you, attacking you. And but then, if it's a black male, sometimes he would get attacked like that. But a lot of the time, sometimes they help the able-bodied guy, But people of other races, if they ask for donations online, they get the help. Now, when rich folks ask for donations, they can raise millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. If Charlie Kirk was rich, I've seen after he died, I've seen organizations wanting to raise donations. For what? He was rich and his organization was rich. And, you know, a lot of people say that he faked his death. And I saw videos of him, one video of him showing evidence that he's part of he was a satanic Illuminati puppet. I saw a video of evidence of him being a satanic Masonic Illuminati puppet. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. You know. And then people are saying that his wife Erica is part of the some kind of way got some association with the I think it was a Masonic organization called Knights of Malta or something like that, you know. But I'm not a political person, but I never voted in my life. But let me get off the topic of politics. But yeah, you know, a lot of people are saying Charlie faked his death, you know, and a lot of people saying that there's a lot of idolatry going on right now, you know. But yeah, I forgot what video that was. I think I did share the video. The video of him flashing satanic hand signs, you know. Excuse me. So he was part of the Mason Club too. I don't care what nobody say. That's the truth. And people say that, I mean, he wouldn't have got to that level of fame. Excuse me. But, you know, a lot of people say that Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and Rosa Parks. Now, with my research, I found out that Rosa Parks was like 12 years old and got initiated into the Masonic group called Job's Daughters. Ooh, they're shocking me they're shocking my butt cheeks now that I'm talking about this, you know. Yeah. So I wish I could have something to eat tonight, but after this, I'm gonna try to see if I could go to bed, and I hope I won't I hope I won't wake up in the middle of the night feeling miserable and hungry, you know. But excuse me. Yeah, I need any and all the prayers I could get. You know, maybe I could do a short blog post and, you know, just document or say, you know, these are ways you can support me, you know. And I apologize if people think I'm snappy or having an attitude. I don't mean to. Y'all see the perps trigger my Tourette's on purpose and trying to get me agitated, and then, you know, they trigger my Tourette's and get me agitated, and then and I'm sorry if I might sound snappy while I'm in the midst of fighting off the perps and their fake new profiles and stuff. If I'm fighting them off and y'all ask me a question, I'm sorry if I sound snappy. You know, I don't mean to sound snappy or rude or nothing. Excuse me. You know, a lot of times I try to apologize and say I'm not trying to. I mean, I don't mean to sound like that towards y'all, but I mean, I'm frustrated yelling at the perps. You know. and they know who they are. So how am I supposed to survive if I'm wrongfully blacklisted from employment, wrongfully banned from everywhere, and got fake criminal charges to fight? That because of corruption, I might, and the witchcraft, that I might end up losing. I didn't win the last time with the fake public offender, you know. So, but yeah, it's like amazing that people act like they're too poor to support and help someone that's less fortunate or in a less fortunate predicament. But people that's already rich, ow, they keep shocking me in different areas. People that's already rich, they shocked the top. I mean, they shocked my right leg, like right above my right knee just now. See, they're trying to manipulate for me to be distracted and forget what I was saying. So people that are less fortunate, you know, it's like they're forced to stay poor and nobody really want to help. But the already rich, people got big bucks to fake donate, you know, and would rather even donate overseas than here at home. You know, excuse me. So they would rather donate big bucks to other countries, but, you know, whatever lies that the government is feeding us, you know, but then people suffering right in your own neighborhood, and you throw stones at them, or you kick them down when they're already down, you know. But you know, after I found out the idea that, oh, in order to be rich in society, you got to sell your soul to the devil and become evil. I don't want that. Like, you know, and the satanic rituals sound repulsive, and they sound like stuff that I could not handle. But people think that they're strong by participating in satanic rituals. They think they're stronger and more powerful than you. But because they can tolerate something so gross, filthy, repulsive, see that they're attacking my throat, trying to make me cough. You know, they think that the fact that they can handle something repulsive, they think it makes them superior, you know. I don't know many satanic rituals, and I really don't know any witchcraft rituals or nothing. But, you know, I heard about the elite and the Masonic blood drinking ceremonies. I don't know a whole lot, but I heard some things here and there about what people do when they initiate. They make my chin itch with the weapons. What they do with the when they take the Masonic oath. You know, I excuse me, I don't know a whole lot about that, but, you know, when they take the Masonic oath and get initiated, you know, I forgot how everything goes, but, you know, a lot of my research I forgot. But speaking of my research, before I came on the video, excuse me, I was thinking back, like, the years 2012 through 15, excuse me, when I used to bring my laptop to University of Southern California, USC campus, excuse me, a lot of the times I would have a laptop, and when I would research the Illuminati, New World Order, natural health, and Christian living, and stuff like that, and when I researched stuff about that, when I had my laptop, I didn't know it was called. It was what Myron May had described. You know, from what I think I remember him describing in those 3 videos. Like basically, when I would try to research the truth, I didn't realize that they would illegally hack in and freeze my laptop while I'm trying to research the truth, and it would be frustrating, you know. But then, if I'm just watching and scrolling like random videos, like say for example, if there's a video about ghetto fights in at the grocery store or something like that, excuse me. Oh, they I didn't realize I was being illegally surveilled and gang stalked, and that perps were in my computer, you know. So I didn't know all that back then. But you know, basically, if I try to research the truth and something and righteousness and something important, then they would freeze my laptop really hard. But then, if I'm researching, I'm gonna say bullshit. I mean, if I'm looking up bullshit, or you know, then leave me alone. You know. But yeah. Excuse me for yawning. But trying to figure out what else I needed to talk about or what to say, you know. But yeah, I didn't realize they called that another form of electronic harassment. Like certain people say electronic harassment is when they're in your computer or your phone and, you know, manipulating and controlling your computer and your phone. And other people say that electronic harassment is them hitting your body with the directed energy weapons, you know. Excuse me. But I don't know why people think it makes them bigger or better than you, that they think that they can look down on you and laugh and say you're crazy. But then in the end, they end up being the biggest fool, and they begging you to save them when they're in trouble, you know. Excuse me. So, but it's not a good feeling for, like, the way they laugh at you and call you crazy, you know, or they think that you gotta be or they'll say something like you're not the sharpest tool in the box, or that you're mentally slow, or that you're one sandwich short of a picnic, or you're remedial, you know, or you're autistic or whatever, you know. But yeah. Excuse me, a lot of people say that, I mean, because if you go to church, you know, most of the church people, they claim they serve the Lord and that they're Christian and serving God, you know, and they got nice homes, cars, loving families, whatever. And they don't seem like they're being like persecuted or gang stalked or attacked or sabotaged, you know, or stripped of everything, you know. Excuse me. But yeah, all these people in church, but certain people say Well, you know you're a true chosen one if you're going through this program. Well, how can a person be a true chosen one going through gang stalking, but then you practice that new age and witchcraft too? You know. So yeah, but yeah. It's like October is a teeny bit over 1 week away. And it's like, well, fortunately here in New Orleans, October will probably be nice weather or not that bad. But, but I was hoping to have had a housing solution before October or by October. Excuse me. And unfortunately, if I stay in an apartment, they will gang stalk me out of my apartment and try to take my life. Or they will workplace, like they run you out of everywhere. And I didn't know this was going on because this was before I started even speaking up about gang stalking. Like the gang stalking started happening before I started speaking up about it. And people say, well, if you research Illuminati and the New World Order or whatever, expect to be put on the government watch list. Nobody wants to talk about the word Illuminati anymore. But people, there's this meme on Twitter that people say, if you're on a government watch list, then that means you're doing something right. Something like that, But I didn't know, like growing up, I had no idea. I didn't know that our government was satanic and evil. Like we were brainwashed to believe that the government is as close as to good and close as to God that there is. Excuse me. And they have people brainwashed to look at the police and so-called rich folks like another form of God, But I didn't even know that your next door neighbors, even your roommate, could be Masonic. And like, wow, this could happen with anybody. So it's like, what's the point of people selling their soul to the devil, and you just and you just drive around in a raggedy red truck that's can dismantle in like any day now, Excuse me. Oh, what's the point of selling your soul to the devil and you still homeless on the streets and you're struggling harder than me, but then you're a perp? How is that? But I feel like it's a shock to me to realize that I'm going through this. A lot of people, certain people say that it's from a Christian point of view, a spiritual refinement, and sanctification. But as I was trying to say, that they have certain people that feel like if you they have certain people that feel like if you they say something like, if once they give their life to Jesus Christ, that's when their gang stalking started. Other people say, and that is spiritual warfare, and other people say that their gang stalking stopped once 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 they became a Christian. Now, who's lying or who's telling the truth? Because the ones who say that they're not being gang stalked anymore because they turned to Jesus, but behind closed doors, they are perping, harassing, and playing both sides. And they're illegally rich and living a high life. Wolves and sheep's clothing themselves. But like if I had access, if I had a way to get my own vehicle, my own car, which that seems hopeless, then if I had my own car, I could be more flexible on where to live at, live and work. But since I don't have a car, and I have to be forced to be, deal with public. I don't have a car, so I have to be forced to live in bigger cities with, public transportation. And it's unfortunately harder to get to live in a neighborhood where it would be quiet. But like uptown New Orleans, they say it's being gentrified, but a lot of the times I'm like quiet, but if you're targeted, then the perps will illegally find ways to make noise and make sure that you don't get any peace. That's all I want. You see how quiet it is right now? Let me be quiet. That's all I want. That's what I need to live, peaceful and quiet and torture-free. Torture-free, abuse-free, and harassment-free. Why should that be hard to ask? And why should it be hard? Why is it hard for people to leave? How come it's hard for you to leave me alone? What's the hurdle? Like, for you to live life, to just doing and saying stuff on purpose to upset and bother people. And you just won't give someone any peace. Why don't, if I'm a bad person, why don't you sit back and let God punish me? Why don't you sit back and why you gotta play God and take matters into your own hands? If I'm doing something wrong or committing such and such XYZ sin, or crime or whatever, excuse me, why don't you just let God handle it? Why you gotta make someone's life a miserable living hell? And maturity doesn't exist anymore, at least here in America. Nobody, we live in a lawless society where, someone could commit the utmost evil towards you and get praised for someone, get praised as someone who has done nothing wrong. But then when nobody want to help you and you fed up and then deal with the reactive abuse or take matters into your own hands, then you're looked like as the criminal, if I weren't homeless, if I was never made homeless in the first place, then I would I wouldn't have to worry about fake criminal charges to fight. And I wouldn't have to ask for help. As I said, I would be more than glad to live in a low-income senior house. Well, I'm not a senior, but, low-income disabled senior housing or Section 8 home if if I could have like the neighborhood to be like quiet and respectful and not gang stalk or narcissistically abuse, you know. Why doesn't anyone, I mean, how come I'm me or anyone else, how come we're not entitled to the right? Whatever happened to every apartment lease saying that you have a right to peaceful and quiet enjoyment in your own home? But just like y'all think that I don't have a right to feel entitled to simply peace and quiet and to be left alone, what makes y'all think that y'all have the authority or entitlement to just wrongfully and unnecessarily disrupt someone's peace in life just because of lies that you heard? You know, and you don't even check the true facts, but you think you got the true facts, but you're heavily deceived and under strong delusion. You know, excuse me, like how people will say, "Oh, the truth is staring you in the face," and you still don't believe it. You know. But I'm glad I got to have a mellow vent tonight rather than an angry rant. You know, but I'm too tired to, like, my body feels so exhausted and weak. You know, it looks like I won't be able to eat tomorrow until breakfast, and then I don't know who will help me what anything tomorrow, or if I will even get any help. You know, but I mean, I can't believe people like this exist. The people who live for trying to do and say stuff to make others miserable and to sabotage and systematically destroy and murder another person who has not done you anything. I couldn't picture myself, I could not imagine myself being a gang stalker. I wouldn't want that. You know, the stalking cult, they sold out to the devil and money was their motivation, right? So they think they're good, you know, they're all set with their fake money, house, clothes, whatever, car, whatever they want. Excuse me, they gain the world and lose their soul. But I'm forced to have to live in this predicament to survive. I'm disabled and hypersensitive, you know, and I'm disabled and hypersensitive, and people think that because they do something a certain way, then it should be easy for you to do it too, and that there's no excuse. Excuse me. What might work for you may not work for me. You feel like because something worked for you, it should be effective for me also, and it's not the case. You know, just like if I go into, you know, a shoe store and dealing with customer service, you know, me and you would not get treated the same, you know, or the cashier would not have the same demeanor and attitude towards every customer, and not every customer is gonna have the same attitude towards the cashier, you know. So, but you know, I feel stuck right now that I don't know what the outcome would be for the 2 fake court dates coming up from being illegally swatted and wrongfully thrown in jail. And now, if I was housed and that happened to me, there's a chance I probably could have become homeless after getting out of jail, you know, and stripped of everything. Excuse me, because I heard stories about how people can go to jail on false criminal charges and then, end up homeless and losing everything, you know. But it seems like the people that do really wicked things, they given multiple chances and given a slap on the wrist. But if you're innocent and falsely accused, or if you do something minor, they'll keep you in jail or prison for a long time. Like, if you took another life, you a murderer. I mean, how are you given more chances than someone who had a traffic ticket, and a one-time traffic ticket? Excuse me, something minor. But I heard this about the prison industrial complex. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I've done some research on it. I don't have any expert knowledge, but yeah. So thanks for listening to me. Yeah. So basically, if they drop both fake criminal charges, I don't know how soon. I don't even know if there's a scenario where they drop both fake criminal charges against me and I'm set free, and then if I apply to go to drive for Uber, I don't know if my homeless situation would set me back from getting to rent one of their vehicles to drive. But, if not that, then, excuse me, I don't even know if I can raise funds I don't know about a scooter. If I can make an attempt to try, to see about getting maybe a scooter or something to ride, work for Uber. But the setback is me being wrongfully banned from so many hotels, restaurants, and lots of places of business, So that's the hard thing. And so, like, if you're homeless and you're wrongfully permanently banned forever, and I was like, well, that's cold-blooded, because, what if you can get out of your homeless situation and you can't go to XYZ grocery store because, you're banned from the whole corporation forever because, you're homeless. And, if someone thought you were loitering, but you were waiting around for the store to open. And so they maliciously called the police on you to try to get you wrongfully trespassed, and they won't allow you to explain, wait a minute, I'm waiting around for the grocery store to open in 5 minutes, Excuse me, and you've done nothing wrong, but just simply not have a home. And they make you feel like you did or said something wrong. Make you feel really terrible, So, due to the forced homelessness and the sleep deprivation and every day being a fight to survive, and then dealing with the upcoming court dates on September 29th and October 8th. Excuse me. That is, and yeah, that is, I can't progress faster with my writings, Excuse me. And it's hard to suffer on the streets, and you only get between 1 and 3 hours of sleep, and then the rest of the day you just fighting to exist. A lot of people try to be judgmental, but they haven't lived a day in your shoes. Like with the vigilante, they have people who I guess they might be internet Karens or social media Karens that they make it their life's mission and then brag about how they make it their life's mission to go around and hunt for who they think is internet beggars. And that's all you do all day. Where's your job? If you just hunt for who you think is internet beggars all day, and you cyber stalk, follow, and harass, how do you have the time or the opportunity to do any productive work? Because that ain't productive work. Who hired you? Or are you is that your self-employment, or is it your side hustle? And who's paying you to do this? And that might be what the Bible mean about First Peter 5:8. And I think some people say 1 Peter 5:8 through 9, I know 1 Peter 5:8, but I forgot what 5 and 9 says, But, when fake Damnesia will come and harass me and talk about that I don't have any work ethic, have you physically seen my performance at work? I bet you haven't. So how could you just make that assumption? It's like, but people in person, despite me being targeted, me being targeted, they would talk about how great I am and such a perfectionist with my work that I do. And then certain people say that if you work too good or if you work too hard, then people would get jealous and try to bully you off the job. I'm like, so why would they expect you to do a bad job at work? I thought that if you did bad at work, I thought you'd get fired, So now it's like the opposite, that they're expecting you to do bad at work. They have people who have jobs that don't want to work and they're always calling off for no reason at all. And then I'd be like, well, I'll be, if I'd be willing to take that person's shift I'd be, begging to pick up more hours of work and then get told no because they want to keep me at low wage part-time jobs. And that they don't plan on keeping me for long, and they maliciously plotting for the right time to get rid of me, temp service or seasonal or permanent employment, And then for me to have had an 11 or 12 year gap in employment and then be seen as overqualified with my bachelor's degree. And now people talk about this thing called age discrimination. I guess I'm too old, So it's like, I know what I experienced with the job rejections, and I feel like I realized I don't have many work skills. And with these jobs these days, they would rather just, most jobs don't really train you, or, they don't really train you to do the job. And the only qualifications I have is a bachelor's degree in Spanish, and I'm still not fluent, and I barely made it. I barely graduated because of family abuse and Hurricane Katrina. Excuse me. And I almost didn't make it out of college, with family abuse and Hurricane Katrina. And then how many people have falsely accused me of not being from New Orleans and falsely accused me of lying for attention, about going through Hurricane Katrina, I used to live in New Orleans Towers in Algiers. The address was what was the address? Um 3601 Texas Drive. I used to live in apartment 136. I've been a New Orleans resident all my life up until Hurricane Katrina. And after that, I've been like bouncing around from city to city and state to state or whatever. Excuse me. But like I have made attempts at trying to make a career out of my Spanish degree, and due to being homeless, that was a setback. Excuse me. And then they forced me into the mental health system and would not let me work. So many times throughout my life, I have made attempts at trying to get jobs, and they just won't let me work. So when they come in and make their fake comments or whatever, and stubborn and will not listen to you, but then they're attacking and judging you, excuse me. And it's like you actually make I don't even think there's like an so-called epidemic or whatever of internet beggars. And not like that. But people, narcissistic, control freak, fake TI perps and regular perps, it's like their way of trying to act like as if they want to try to plant that seed to manipulate me to hurry up and rush and make a decision and sell out and become evil like them. They're like, well, how long are you going to be in this predicament? You can't live this way forever. Something's got to give. It's like they're trying to give me an ultimatum and say, you can't live like this. You can't live but I'm trying my best. The way I know how. And then they want to try to control and fix you and think that because something works for them, it's supposed to work for me too. You don't know my background and trying to judge and make decisions for me. Why should I accept your advice that, you should go and relocate somewhere else? I relocated I don't know how many times. I'm staying home. This is my home. Why don't I have a right? Why don't y'all respect my right to want to be home? But them getting me wrongfully permanently banned from so many places, they trying to force me to get disgusted and be forced to leave again. Excuse me, like they did before and like they did when I was in Pensacola, Florida. I don't want to be anywhere else but here in New Orleans, and I wish I had a vehicle so that I could travel around. And, even back in 2008, I had dreamed of wishing I could be a worldwide travel blogger and wonder how did everybody else get to do it? How were they able, it's like so many things in life that I wish that I could have done, and I didn't know whose approval that I needed. I was trying to work on writings in 2006 and I think 2007 also. So, and I like even in 2017, I was frustrated, wondering what could I do to earn a living. And everybody say you gotta be patient. You gotta start from the bottom. I'm like, how long I gotta start from the bottom for? When nobody's giving me an opportunity or a chance. Oh, and another thing, I gotta deal with disability discrimination too. And being wrongfully blacklisted due to this gang stalking cult program. Because they refuse to let me have any employment or any work until or unless I sell out and become both a prostitute and a perp, and they are expecting for me to sell my body in order to live and survive. you know. And I don't want to live a life where people are sticking things inside of my reproductive area, you know. Whether it be your genital area or your hand or whatever, inanimate objects or whatever else, you know. Um, and why don't I have a right to refuse and say no to the cult? Why don't I have a right to say no to selling out? You know. But yeah, like with the internet vigilantes, I didn't realize that was called vigilantism. And it comes from narcissistic personalities or people that's narcissistic abusers that they want to put police. They think that it empowers them for them to idolize and worship a website and try to police the website. Like they have so many people who idolize and worship Yahoo Answers years ago, and I didn't realize I was being cyber stalked and harassed on there, you know. Excuse me. And I had many days being depressed, you know. And websites similar, you know, you end up dealing with this, like they're being like more vicious than Yahoo Answers, you know. But Yahoo Answers, they don't have Yahoo Answers anymore. And I didn't realize that it's like so many internet narcissists that's just like very rampant, you know, but they might seem normal in person. But nowadays, excuse me, my encounters, I'm seeing people that's feel like they have nothing to lose to be rude to you in person. You know, forget about hiding behind the internet. Nowadays, people will be rude to you and mean and abusive in person, you know. Yeah, but I'm getting really tired. So it's 10:57 p.m. at night. I love y'all, and whatever y'all could help me with, I would appreciate it. So, you know, basically, I don't know where I would end up for the month of October if I'm free from jail. But, you know, I would like to work harder with my writings and successfully self-publish more writings. You know, but then if you're doing stuff like dishwasher job, you know, it takes time away from you know, your writing goals or whatever, you know. But and you don't get paid much, and they want me with low wage part-time jobs that where I could work a job and still have to struggle and ask for help, you know. So you don't even know what my income is, but then you're trying to say, well, you should go live here, you should go live there, you should do this, you should do that. Stop telling me what to do. But I'm gonna get off here. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all.